Well, welcome back to the Endless Chase. Bringing you the first part of a new series per se that we want to do. We're just going to call this the logbook, and it's just more to represent. We've always been big on having logbooks at our camps. Just anytime you're up, jot down what you saw, what you did, just the memories that you made, so that way you can look back on them years down the road and read through, and it'll spark some memories that maybe the little details you'll forget. So this is kind of to represent that, just so the enjoyment of sitting around the table, drinking a beer and looking over the logbook. So I'm not sure where we're going to take this series yet, but for the time being, it's just going to be a at least weekly or a couple times a week through the season. Just everything that happens, big or small. The idea is for it to be very real, and uncut, and you just see the stuff that happens throughout a season, and the memories you make, more than just the times that you make a harvest and you get to kill a big buck or something like that you obviously want to turn into a story. So this will be our first entry in this year's logbook. So this week's episode, we're just get our first sits of the season in. I go down to Maryland before the PA opener to get my first sit, and then opening day in PA was eventful and very humbling. So you'll see the action we had there, and again, this is just kind of to resemble that logbook that you'll sit down and instead of reading over, we'll be able to watch over down the road and share it with everyone who follows along as well. So hope you enjoy this week's episode and you follow along with us as we go through this series through the every week through the season. And so hope you enjoy this episode and the first entry of our 2022 logbook.
People need a chase, something that's more than a hobby or a pastime, but rather something so built into their core it makes them who they are. Something that gets you out of bed in the morning, drives you day in and day out, and still keeps you up at night. More than goals to be reached, but rather an endless commitment to something that most people just can't comprehend. This is our endless chase. What is yours?
He's freaking down, baby. Freaking smoked. Freaking awesome. Freaking picture perfect. Ohio buck down, baby. That is freaking sweet. I just shot a bear with a bow. Oh, good job, buddy.
I live for this stuff.
It's our first sit of the 2022 season. I took a run down to Maryland for the day. Check my cameras and do a day of hunting. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet here, at least for a little bit. Just cracked daylight, so I'm gonna be quiet and enjoy the woods. Waking up and finally sitting in a tree for the first time in 9 months, so I'm excited for this season, and we'll check back in here in a little while. About mid-morning now. Saw 5 does and a spike this morning. None of the does could give me a shot, so we were gotta take a doe here first before you can hunt any type of buck, and so that's what we're after. But it's an awesome first sit, beautiful day. First sit of the season, first sit in the saddle, so been decided to try these out this year, especially on all these public land trips, and I like it. It's gonna take some tweaks. I've been practicing with it, but I do like it. So, pulled my cameras and got set up in the spot for the evening. I sat here last year, just a nice oak bench that necks down, real skinny at both ends. So we're gonna sit it out here for the remainder of the day and see if we can't put a doe on the ground. It's about 72 degrees, 70 degrees. A pretty good steady west wind, which is coming right across this way and then blowing my scent right off the edge down into the bottom. So even if the wind dies off, the thermals will bring it down. Alright, well that's pretty much gonna do it here. Got about 10 minutes left till eagle shooting light. But no deer this evening, so gotta start packing up. Got a little bit of a drive home, so and it's pretty much gonna do it for our first day in the woods of the 2022 season. So saw some deer. It's a beautiful day. No complaints. But we'll be back at it here soon, and we'll be after Mr. Clean and PA here by the end of the week. Alright, well, it was first morning here in PA, statewide opener. It's October 1st. Set up on I just came up in here with the saddle and I set up on an oak flat. It's dropping quite a bit of acorn. I've had good luck here in the past seeing deer and stuff when the oaks do drop. But it's not an every year thing. It's kind of very rarely that they do. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a little bit of a draw for the deer. I'm going to get quiet, first part of the morning, and we'll check back in later, but extremely excited for this season, so I'm excited to kick it off. Just gonna settle in for the morning set. That's extremely disappointing. I get so damn excited and stop to think. I wasn't even really paying attention. I was just got done filming the intro and just kind of looking around in front of me, and I gotta get used to that in this saddle. The tree's not behind me, so I don't have anything blocking me. So to pay more attention back there. And I just happened to hear a twig crack, so I slowly turned around and the doe was at 20 yards. And I was able to get the bow. I love this tree. I got a lot of cover, like right below me. So I got the bow, got the camera turned around, camera on the deer. By that time it was at like 25. And I thought, like, I could get a range just barely. It was still kind of dim I gotta get a new rangefinder, but my crosshairs and my rangefinder are black, so it was dim, but I ranged a tree and it was 30, and I thought she had walked to that, so I shot her for 30. She was at 26, and then she ducked, so thankfully I didn't, make a non-lethal shot and hit her, but it could have just as easily been that way, so I smoked a tree. She's about 40 yards up the hill, milling around. But I let out a couple fawn bleats to see if I can calm her down. Have her come back down here, but gotta show the good times and the bad. But man, that burns me up just because it's controllable. And I did not control it. season, and I'm gonna start out real low. That way we can just go up from there. At least I saw a deer. Alright, well, it's about 10 o'clock. I have not seen a deer since that doe this morning. She just milled her way up the hill. I don't know if she thought just the arrow smacked a tree, and I don't know if she just thought a branch fell, because she just hopped up, another 10-15 yards and milled around and then left. But it's a disappointing, frustrating morning for opening day, but thankful that I saw a deer and I got to spend time in the woods. So we'll be back out this afternoon and do a little shoot in the middle of the day, gain some confidence back. I mean, I hit where I was aiming. I just screwed up my ranging and making sure I was thinking about her ducking. So I'm gonna start to back up here and get down, and then we'll be back at it this afternoon. Alright, well, we're back up for the evening sit. Looking for a little redemption from my just pure stupidity this morning. Had a first 20 minutes of the season, had an opportunity, a nice big doe, and I ranged her wrong. I ranged a tree, and it was the wrong tree. I thought she was standing next to a different one, so I shot right over her, and just dumb move on my part, getting too caught up in the moment. I was excited. I still get all worked up over does and stuff too. So we're in different spots, sitting over a food plot this evening that it's on its last leg. It was so hot and dry, and then when we did get a little bit of rain, it got green again. The deer just hammered it. So there's no. I just overseeded it with some rye a couple weeks ago, and that's the only thing kind of holding on. So see if we can't see something this evening. Solely on Mr. Clean. He's a minimum 6.5-year-old, just a mountain monarch. He's a big 9, got a sticker off his G2 that doesn't quite make him a 10, but I've got this will be my 5th year in a row with no history with him. I got tons of pictures every year. This year is actually the anomaly. I have much less this year than any other year, so that's who I'm after. So aside from maybe taking a doe or two, or until I know he is for sure dead, then I'm after him. So at least that's what we're gonna stick with for now.
All right, well, hope you enjoyed this week's entry in the logbook. As you can see, it was eventful, it was very humbling, a strike to my ego to say the least. I enjoy my sits in Maryland every year. It's just something I enjoy doing, hunt some different ground, get out a little bit earlier than I can here in Pennsylvania. And then, yeah, opening day was amateur hour for me. Just, you know, two very, very simple mistakes that shouldn't have happened. In the morning, I just ranged the wrong tree, you know, and I thought she was, you know, a little bit different range than she was. And then in the evening, just in my own head and in the moment, I just used the wrong pin. And there's really no excuse for either of them. I got very fortunate that I missed cleanly, so I'm very thankful for that. But the biggest thing I would say, you know, around this whole thing is just if you go through something like that, is just make sure you take it seriously. Don't just chalk it up to, you know, oh, it happens. Bow hunting's just like anything else. You do it enough, you do anything enough, no one's perfect, and you do have mistakes, but I just don't, you know, take them seriously and learn from them and then move on. You know, it is real and it is what happens, and that's what, you know, these logbook entries are going to show, is that stuff happens. So, and other than that, I really enjoyed opening day, you know, and like I said, it really showed me that, okay, I need to stay focused and not take for granted, you know, easy shots, or, you know, like I said, I get all worked up over does. So it's gonna do it for this week. Next week's a little sneak peek into next week's episode. We're first full week of the season. I'm gonna hunt a little bit before and after work, and hopefully send an arrow at home and try and get a doe in southern PA, and then end of the week we'll be back up to hunt a couple days here in northern PA. So looking forward to next week's entry in the logbook as well. And last thing I want to mention here, just, you know, I've said a couple times that, you know, I'm dedicating my season to Mr. Clean. It's a buck I have a ton of history with, and I'm really gonna focus on that deer specifically for one of a couple reasons. My hunting season this year is going to be dedicated to my grandfather, who passed away earlier this year. He and I shared a love for the outdoors, very much so, and it was just something that he and I always had. He was always one of my biggest supporters of everything I did outdoor related, and spent a lot of time, you know, hunting together in the woods. Oh, it's never enough, but we did spend a lot of time, and so this season is dedicated to him and my chase for Mr. Clean, because that deer is something I shared with him, you know, over the years that I've had him, and he was always looking forward to the next pictures, and always couldn't believe the size and the you know, the year after year, you know, story that I was building with that deer. So my chase for Mr. Clean is hopefully to put the final chapter in that story and be able to do that, you know, for my grandfather, and just be able to share that. So that's kind of where we're at this season. And again, you know, I appreciate everybody following along, and hopefully we'll see you next week for the next entry of our 2022 logbook. So until then, thanks for tuning in to The Endless Chase. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video, turn on notifications, and if you want to keep up with us, follow us on social media, and we appreciate every one of you. And until then, we'll see you next time.